Hello, in this video we're going to talk about recommended Season 5 identities and egos to dispense. I will be ranking these in the tier list based off kind of the unique value each one brings to your account, rather than purely based on the strength. So some more experienced Limbus Company players may raise an eyebrow at some of the stuff, the way it's ranked on the tier list, but again, this is not a strength tier list. It's a things you want to get before it's locked away at the end of the season tier list. Now, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So for the tier list, we have at S rank as a must obtain Manager Don Quixote, Heisho Ryoshu, Sync Meursault, and Kurkumo Ishmael. Now for S tier, I will do a separate slide on each of these where I break down why I rank them so high. For A rank, we have Fire Fist Gregor, Princess Rodya, Meursault Outis, Kurkumo Heathcliff, and Thoracalgio Ryoshu. A rank we're going to spend a little bit less time on than S rank, but we're still going to detail why each of these is something you seriously want to consider dispensing before the season ends. At B rank, we have Barbara Outis, Priest Gregor, Thoracalgio Faust, and in Dickens Trial Rodya. I hope I pronounced that right. B rank just means that these units are a little more kind of specific in their niche. Like I wouldn't use Barbara Outis outside of a bleed team, and I could replace her with another strong bleed unit, of which there are many. But that doesn't mean that Barbara Outis isn't highly valuable in her own right. As an example, we'll talk about each of the B rank units as well. Now, the rest of them, I have Ardor Blossom Faust, Fell Bullet Yisung, and Christmas Nightmare Ishmael in C tier. Hexnail, that's actually a typo. That's not supposed to be in the tier list because it's in the Battle Pass. But for C tier, this stuff is just things that it's more niche. It's doesn't bring a lot of unique value to your account, with the exception of Fell Bullet Yisung because he can team kill, but that's going to be used in some kind of niche speedrunning stuff for Refraction Railway 5. And then in D tier, we have Christmas Nightmare Gregor, who is the only unit I actually just don't recommend dispensing. Even the stuff in C tier, you can dispense it and it'll be strong and it'll do really well for you, but Christmas Nightmare Gregor is just sort of kind of out there right now. He doesn't have a lot of use currently. Alright, now let's talk about S rank and why those units we put in S rank here are so valuable. So let's get right into it. So starting with the Manager Don Quixote, just the 4 bullet points, very high damage, potent bleed application. She's the leader of the Blood Fiend units, and she gets stronger if there are Blood Fiends on the field with her. And, she's very handsome, so that's also a big plus. It's also, I just kind of have that in there because it's fun to collect the units that are so, like, story relevant. And Manager Don Quixote is definitely one of those. And yeah, I have her skill 3 featured, Ascendant Hardblood Arts, and yeah, the damage is crazy. This is a unit you really must get before the season ends if you can. Alright, now Heisho Pack Ryoshu. Now this might surprise some people that I ranked her so high because she just came out, but she inflicts rupture count with every single skill. Her skill 1, her skill 2, and her skill 3 all inflict rupture count. That's insane. That's insane. Now, she also has speed conditionals that she can meet to gain more coin power, in addition to her rupture conditionals she meets to gain coin power. So that means Heisho Ryoshu still puts in work and does high damage and can clash pretty good, even outside of a rupture team, because she can at least get half of her conditionals via speed. She has ludicrous damage output, especially on her skill 3, where she'll start reusing coin if she's fast enough. And she'll almost certainly pair well with the new Season 6 units coming next month, because it's looking like Season 6 is going to be the season of Rupture. It's Chinese themed, right? Looks like we're going to get some Chinese martial arts. Hong Lu kind of talks about that in Nocturnal Sweeping. I'm not going to say any spoilers about like who showed up and stuff, because I know not everyone's cleared Nocturnal Sweeping. But again, Canto 6, Canto 8, it's going to be Chinese themed. Probably going to see some martial arts stuff, some high-level weapon fighting, and it looks like it's going to be the season of Rupture coming up, and Heisho Ryoshu is going to be someone you want for next season. Now, Sync Association Meursault, he's also a Rupture unit, so he's also probably going to be pretty good next season, if my prediction is correct. He's count neutral for Rupture after he reaches the conditional of having 15 potency and 3 count on the enemy, which is very good. Being count neutral is amazing. He has good clash power, especially for a rupture unit. This doesn't matter as much now that the Devyat units and the Heisho units have come out, but this used to be a really big deal that he had strong clash power on a rupture team. And he even gains poise, so you can use him on a poise team if you don't care about rupture. And that works because he may be a rupture unit, but he gains coin power from being fast. So you actually don't need to use him on a rupture team to meet his own conditionals. So that's what makes him so unique, is that we have a unit who is great on rupture, but if he's not used on a rupture team, he doesn't care. He'll still do his thing anyway. Alright, now Kurokamo clan Ishmael. So what makes her so good? She's 100% necessary for a Kurokamo team. That's why I have her in S tier, because if you do not dispense Kurokamo Ishmael before the season ends, you will not be able to effectively run, really run at all, a Kurokamo team until the next season ends, and then you can start dispensing the units from this 2 seasons prior. So that's why I put her in S rank, is that she's kind of a must dispense if you care about Kurokamo clan, and she's totally unique in that she transforms that faction from garbage into something pretty good. She's also a strong bleed unit, so you can use her even without her Kurokamo friends, and she still does just fine. In fact, she still does good. And there's unique art. I won't dwell on the art, but I personally like it, and I know a lot of people do. Okay, now let's talk about A rank. So we're going to spend a little bit less time on A rank, but there's still some really cool stuff to break down here. And it's no slight to be an A rank. It's still I really recommend dispensing these units. They just didn't quite have as much unique pull as S rank. But alright, let's talk about what's on the screen now with Fire Fist Gregor and Princess Rodya. So for Rodya, first of all, she's a blood fiend, which means she does great with Manager Don Quixote. She's strong at bleed, and she inflicts rupture, not enough to be good on a rupture team, but enough that you can use her in a rupture team in Mirror Dungeon, and she'll frag out and do insane damage, which is pretty nice. I really like hybrid units for that reason, because they fit well into multiple teams in Mirror Dungeon. The thing about being Blood Fiends is if this was a purely strength tier list, I would put Rodya in S tier, because running a full team of 4 Blood Fiends is super strong. But this isn't a strength tier list, this is uniqueness, and the only thing kind of unique she has going for her is that Blood Fiend tag and being able to inflict a bit of rupture. So she just ended up a little bit down below in A rank instead of S rank. Now with Fire Fist Gregor, he's a core burn unit. He inflicts a ton of burn count, so you'll never have to worry about count ever again, even if you ever were. Burn doesn't really have count problems. And he's core to the burn team. And that's kind of about it. That's why I can't put him in S rank, just because he does one thing super well, and that is burning the living shit out of his enemies. And he accomplishes that. So 10 out of 10 for that. And that's really it. He is also one of the biggest meme units in Limbus Company. If you follow the community, people were posting that they wanted Fire Fist to get an identity for months and months, and Project Moon finally did it. I think they saw all the fans and were like, okay, we'll throw the fans a bone and we'll do this. And he has some funny voice lines. And anyway, so he's one of the biggest meme units in the game. So there you go. All right, now Kurokamo, Heathcliff, and Heisho Outis. Heathcliff is a strong bleed unit, so you can use him even outside of Kurokamo, but where he really shines is being by Kurokamo Ishmael's side and being her bodyguard, because he starts getting unbreakable coin on his counter, and that's unique. There's not a lot of units that have the cool clashable counter mechanic, and the fact that he gets unbreakable coin on his is pretty unique and very strong. He's also core to the Kurokamo clan. Now, Kurokamo clan, like I said, needs Ishmael, which is why I ranked her higher. Technically, you can do Kurokamo without Heathcliff, and you'll be fine. But he's so strong that you'd kind of have to be crazy to run a Kurokamo team without him. But that's why he's in A rank instead of S rank, is because he is second to Ishmael in terms of importance to the Kurokamo team and that unique setup. Now, regarding Heisho Outis, she inflicts a lot of rupture, but she doesn't inflict as much rupture count as Ryoshu, which is why she's an A rank and not an S rank. She also does really high slash damage, just like Ryoshu, and also just like Ryoshu, she'll pair well with the Season 6 units. Everything I said about Ryoshu applies here, it's just Outis has a little less rupture count. Okay, now Thor Kazuya Ryoshu also snuck into A tier because it's very unique. for two reasons. One, this is the only way to make Rodya good on a Kurkumo team because Rodya does not generate enough poise count to meet her own conditionals, Kurkumo Rodya. But if you have Thoracolgia active with Ryoshu and you get that E.G.O passive online, you'll suddenly start to be able to generate enough poise count for Rodya. Sorry, I stuttered on my words a bit there. So that is what makes this super unique. It's the only way on a Kurkumo team to get Rodya to actually have poise count. Now it also makes Butler Ryoshu a lot more flexible, and Butler Ryoshu is going to be dispensable in like 27 days from now, 26 days from now, something about like that time from the upload of this video. And so that's what makes Thoracolgia Ryoshu unique, is that good for Rodya, and she makes Butler Ryoshu work better even without needing a poise team. So that's why I ranked it this high. If this was a pure strength tier list, maybe I wouldn't, but again, it's uniqueness. Okay, now for the B rank overview, we're going to do kind of a quick and dirty glance at these. We have Barbara Otis. She's a blood fiend. Again, very strong. Almost she deserves to be an S rank or A rank for just strength. She gains attack weight, and she makes the manager Don Quixote better by doing the variant hard blood arts. But for uniqueness, I mean, you could slot in any of the other amazing bleed units. Bleed is spoiled for choice instead of Barbara Otis in a bleed team, and you do just fine. So that's why she only gets B rank. But B's still pretty good. Now for Priest Gregor, same deal with the Blood Fiend, so I won't repeat myself. And he's a tough tank, so if you need a tank unit, Priest Gregor is great for that. He's phenomenal. Thoracolgia Faust, she makes the Blade lineage a lot more consistent with poise count, but she struggles with the loss of fluid sac because they're both Thoracolgia also takes the Hess slot for E.G.O, just like fluid sac does. Now Blade lineage doesn't generate bloom that well, so it's actually kind of okay to lose out on fluid sac and to get Thoracolgia instead. But especially because Thoracolgia does a bit of healing. But again, this one just gets B rank because Blade lineage doesn't need more poise count. But as Faust gets more poise identities, who knows? Maybe Thoracolgia Faust will start to become a huge, unique source of poise generation for Faust. Now, Indicant's Trial Rodya, it gets B rank because it's a Vow E.G.O, and it's her only non-Walpurgis Vow E.G.O she'll probably get for the next year. So it's going to be unique in its slot. That alone probably should have been enough to boost it up to A rank, but I only put it in B because the clash power of this E.G.O isn't super high and its healing isn't super great. But it still does do healing. Sometimes it even heals sanity. And it inflicts a unique status called Searing Birdcage that makes the enemy more vulnerable to wrath damage, which is great on a burn team. And she's the only way you can inflict that wrath damage bonus. So, still a very good E.G.O, and you should consider dispensing it before the season ends. Okay. Now, we're not going to talk about C rank and D rank because I already kind of talked about why I just don't think those ones are as important, and I want to keep this video short and under 15 minutes. So please just remember this was not a strength tier list. Otherwise, the order would be not significantly different, but still pretty different. But this is instead ranked upon the unique value you may want to get for your account before these units become temporarily unavailable. Seasons have been lasting for a very long time. We're looking at like 6 to 7 months, and each season has gotten longer. Now, I have hopes that the gap between Kanto 8 and Kanto 9 will not be as long as the gap between Kanto 6 and Kanto 7 and 7 and Kanto 8 because they're hiring more employees at Project Moon. But I don't know. I don't have any basis for that, and maybe seasons are going to continue lasting this long. And so choose what you dispense wisely because these units are going to be unavailable for the entirety of the next season in the dispensary, and you'll just have to hope you get them out of the common pool one day from Gacha. Anyways, that's all I have to say, and I hope this video was helpful to you, manager, and have a good day, and let's all look forward to Kanto 8 together. Bye-bye.